my veins, I've been driving this train. Years in this lane, there's no stopping this flame. Cause I came to the game and I changed it to play how I like, rearranged it to my own domain. Yeah, I got what it takes, made lots of mistakes, taking shots, skipping breaks, feeling lost, feeling great, popping off, singing straight, never stopped, never changed. All the squad here to play, and I've got something to say, yeah. I work hard each and every day, I get lost in the words I say. I don't push pause, no, I push play. I won't stop till I make a change. I withdraw on the things I make. I turn flaws into flawless traits. I build tall, never capped in space. I won't stop till I hear him say,
Hey there, welcome back, welcome back. We're on season 15 with this Real Housewives of Atlanta, and this episode is The Buck Stops in Birmingham. Hey there, Miss Iffy, how are you?
Hi, good evening. I'm good, thank you. How you doing?
I'm great. Now, you got to explain that for our viewers because you are Miss Iffy over in the,
UK,
yes, in
England.
the UK, in England, yes. And it is, what time is it there about?
It is 6 minutes past 8
Six
p.m.
minutes past 8 p.m. Right. And over here, I'm in the Eastern Standard Time Zone of the United States, and we're at 3:06. So we're in the house. And guys, I hope you're ready. We're here. We're covering Real Housewives of Atlanta. Tell me what the weather is like if you're in the chat or if you're on the replay. Drop down and tell me what part of the world you're in and what the weather's like. What's the weather like? What's it doing there in London today?
It's been very, very nice. We finally got our summer started.
Ah, yes, summer has started. Same here, same here. I think they're saying we're going to get up into like 90 degrees today, so I cannot believe it. Yes, yes, yes. But we'll go ahead and get started. We start this episode with Miss Kenya Moore from Kenya Moore Hair Cares, and she is preparing for the Magic City Classic, which I don't know if you guys know much about that. They're over there in the UK, but it is a big football game, right? It's a big football game, and it's part of the HBCU. You know, that's the historic Black colleges and universities here in the States, right?
Yes,
And
yes.
it's a very big deal, and all the fraternities, the Black fraternities and sororities, and people that have attended, you know, the universities, they will come, and it's like a big Black reunion, is what it is. It's like a reunion.
Is it a weekend thing or is it just
Yes, yes, it's a weekend. There's all kinds of activities. They'll bring in special guest speakers. They'll usually have music, you know, musical groups come in, R&B groups, maybe some techno music and different things, but it's a whole weekend. You're right. Yes, it's a whole weekend. So it's very, very exciting, and if you ever get a chance to attend one, then by all means go see it. It's a great thing. It's a really great thing. But Kenya is in the mirror. She's in a dance studio with Moneta, and they're preparing and they're trying to get a routine together. And I am just astonished the shape that these women are in. They're both very beautiful bodies, very beautiful bodies.
definitely? I'm really, really impressed, especially with Moniera, who's got young children.
Yes, but so does Kenya. Kenya
Oh
has little
yeah,
Brooklyn. Yeah.
yeah. No, she kept her shape. I don't know what doctor they use, but they
I don't know about there where you are, but I know some of my friends that are African from different parts, different countries. I want to say used to attend my church. I think she was from Nigeria. They would always talk about that how American women typically don't use binders after they have a baby, but a lot of women across cultures across the world, across the globe, use those binders. You know, or some people call them waist trim trainers. You know what I'm talking?
ah yeah,
Yes.
no, we don't do that.
Ah, okay, okay, but
Yeah.
there's a lot of women that do, and they swear by them because they actually kind of they say retrain your abdominal muscles. So I don't know. I don't know. I've tried it a little bit and then I fell off. So I don't know. I just at this point I think I just need to start doing my crunches, okay?
Yeah. Do you know what? I'm not joking. I got my six pack back after I gave my birth to my second son,
Yes.
doing three exercise. My
Okay.
crunch, and
Yes.
and I used to do it every time I'm watching the TV and there's ad.
Wait a
Yeah,
minute. You used to do the crunches every time they got to a commercial break, or what are you saying?
yes, commercial
Okay.
break. Yeah,
Oh, ads. Okay, I
yeah,
get it
yeah,
now.
yeah.
Yes. Okay.
Commercial break.
Okay.
You guys call
Okay.
it.
And then what's the other two? What are the other two
It was
exercises?
just I had this little small ladder where I every time would help me if I want to put things in the house, like say the curtains and stuff. So
Uh-huh.
I used to step on the ladder up
Oh,
and down for 3 minutes.
really?
Yeah,
Oh, that sounds easy. That sounds easy. You know another one though too is what is it when you actually lift your legs up together, if you're lying on the bed or you're lying on the floor and you lift your legs up and you do that like the scissor exercise, that's another
yeah.
help me too. Yeah.
No,
Oh,
definitely. If you want to, and the other thing people don't that forget is that if you want to lose weight, do
yes.
12,000 steps a daily. That would
Do do,
help you.
do 12,000 steps daily,
Yeah,
okay?
yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
That is every. If you see all the athletes that body build their body tight, you will see that's the exercise they do. They don't do other cardio. They do their 12,000 steps daily to get rid of the
Yes.
fat.
Oh, right. Yes. I'm just saying hi to our guests here on this side and asking them to say hi. And be sure, guys, as you're coming in, to click the like button, right? Click the like button for us, okay? Helps us to get further out in the algorithm and that type of thing. And so, as we see that, and so we move on. And what did you think about Marlo? So we see Marlo. Marlo is getting ready for, I guess, here in the States. I don't know if you have a comparable holiday, but we call it Halloween. It falls in October every year. And it's kind of, I don't know if it's supposed to be the celebration of ghosts and witches and warlocks. I don't know what it is, but we have it every October, at the end of October. And so she's preparing for a photo shoot with her two nephews, and she's getting this creepy kind of witchy kind of makeup put on her face. But in the meantime, she's busy talking about how she feels like Candy's responsible for her nephew Quentin, who unfortunately was involved in a bang bang situation and subsequently became unalive. Um, what do you think about that? Why does she think Candy's responsible for that?
I unfortunately, like, I haven't even noticed Candy wasn't on this episode because Marlo was talking
Oh
about it,
Lord.
right?
Okay. Try
She's
not to
talk
laugh. Okay.
That's all she talked about was Candy, Candy, Candy. I
Yeah.
think she
She
has
did.
a grudge against Candy.
Mhm.
And I think what it is that we saw Marlon, she's going through therapy and nephew.
Mm.
And what happens in my experience when you go through therapies, it
Mhm.
brings up things that you haven't dealt with. So
Ah.
unfortunately, um his situation, I think she put it under the carpet when it happened initially, so she can be
Mm.
there for her sister and support everybody else, that she forgot to heal and deal it with it herself.
Yes. That's a very good point that I was saying earlier too to Miss Iffy that having done some grief counseling myself in the past, that one of the things that we learn as counselors is that it's called complicated grief, and that is if your loved one passed away from something other than natural causes, like old age or a heart attack or a stroke. If your loved one passed away from being unalive, which is basically unnatural, right?
Yeah,
It creates inside of that person, it creates a complicated grief, which is even more difficult to deal with. And that's very unfortunate for her. But like you said, that's something that doing her therapy that she needs to really look at and address, but not take her anger out on Drew like she did last episode when she's literally cursing and screaming in her face and looks like she's almost about to hit Drew. It's not Drew's fault. It's not Candy's fault. that your nephew is not here with us, unfortunately. No matter how angry you are, no matter how you felt like maybe Candy didn't handle the circumstances the way you would have liked for her to handle it. She didn't send the flowers or she didn't come and attend the service, but that doesn't make her responsible for his death. That's the bottom line.
Yes, yes, yes. And I think she's behaving all of this because she's dealing with the anger now that she hasn't dealt with before. So this has been faced in her face. And I think what she will do is every little opportunity she gets, she will lash out at anybody regarding of dealing with the loss of her nephew.
Right. Yes, exactly. Welcome in too. Welcome in, Condessa. Good to see you again. Good to see you. You regular here. Yeah. So and then also just I don't know too. There's a thing with Marlo, and you kind of tapped into it. One last thing before we move on. There's a thing with Marlo. Like, is she obsessed with Candy? What do you think? Is she jealous? What's some other maybe underlying reason that maybe she's acting this way, because it seems like it's a little bit more. It seemed like she always disliked Candy even before the nephew you know passed away.
Yeah, I think I feel like is she's jealous of Candy success, and I believe she's also jealous of how Candy's relationship friendships are very solid compared to her friendship circle that she has. And that's why she always, I think, from watching the story of the Real Housewives, she's always had something against, because of her loyalty to Nene. She had something against Candy.
Oh, oh, I forgot about that, because that is how they were brought. How Marla was brought into this was through Nene. You're right. You're right. Very true. Very true. And then they go on to we see Sheree. So I'm gonna we didn't get a chance to touch on this before our before we went live. So I don't know how you're gonna respond to this. But what did you think of Sheree? Sheree goes to see her OBGYN, we call it here, the gynecologist, the lady doctor for the lady bits and the lady parts, right? To
Yeah.
talk about these fibroid symptoms that she's having and how she's having with her monthly menstrual cycle. She's having extra heavy bleeding and possibly, because I've suffered with fibroids, and you have sometimes the bleeding actually spotting in between your period. Is this something that you're comfortable and you're okay to talk about? Because if not, we can move on.
Yeah, no, no, I'm definitely okay with it. I mean, I thought the doctor was joking about, is she trying to have a baby? That was funny.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. She says, have you been trying? You've been trying? When
I
she's
was
down
thinking,
there looking, I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, Sheree is almost 50. Why would she be having a baby? But you know what? Everybody loves to say Janet Jackson did it.
no, right? I was actually watching a story the other day of this lady who got pregnant at 50.
Oh
But
God.
yeah, no, no. I mean, obviously, it was her struggle, and I wish her all the best. But yeah, no,
Yes, yes, yes. I have to be, yeah, that's so
I
true. And I can't knock anybody that does it at whatever age, but I just can't see myself. When I think of 50 and a baby, I think no. I think
yeah, no,
grandbaby. I think grandbaby at 50 is what I think.
yeah, no. I always tell people my kitchen is closed.
Yeah, yeah. But I guess to be honest and to be fair, guys, because I don't want anybody to think I'm laughing or anything at the women, because I'm very empathetic. I wish all women and all parents to be that wish to have children. I wish them blessings and on their success on their journey. If to have children, um, to even consider adoption. But I guess I'm just thinking like Cherie, for one, if I'm not mistaken, I think she already has 3 children of her own, right?
She's
She already
already
has. They're
she's
already
already
they're already
grandparent.
adults. Oh, she's a grandparent.
Yeah, yeah. She became a grandparent the couple of weeks ago.
Ah, okay. So yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking. Like she's already got 3 adult children, so I'm not sure that most normal people would not think if they've had 3 children already that I'm going to have the fourth one at 50. That just does not make good common sense.
But what really confused me is how she didn't. think of the better option to go for the operation because she
Mm.
couldn't stay 6 weeks of SEX.
Oh, oh, yes, no SCX, right. Well, I said to myself, I said, but and thank you for bringing that up because again, as a woman who's had to make choices medically about what to do about my situation, I'm thinking to myself, girl, if you only knew. Now it's what you choose, and depending on how much information. And I do say, women, ladies, let's go do our research and ask your doctors before they decide to give you a hysterectomy. Please ask about other procedures that would give you like results without the symptoms of fibroids or the removal of fibroids. You don't actually have to have your whole entire uterus taken out because there's some fibroids inside of the uterus.
Yeah,
It's almost like having a cavity in your mouth and you have all your teeth pulled out because you got one cavity. I don't know. But anyway, but do your own research. I did a lot myself, many years of research, and I found out some very interesting things that a lot of women do not know. But we'll get into that. I'm actually going to do a panel. I'm going to do a panel on this whole thing. That's a very good point. But
yeah.
what were you saying? I'm sorry. Something you said that triggered me to say something. What
I
did you just say?
Yeah, yeah, no, I mean, I was confused of her decision making. I felt
Oh,
it was
oh,
a poor
thank you. Okay,
choice.
I got it. My thought came back to my head. Yes. So when you're making a decision about which procedure to have, some people decide to not do anything. Some people decide to go to naturopathic, holistic medicine and changing their diets. We all know. I think, ladies, if you're listening to this at the sound of my voice, we all know, and I'm sure you guys know in the UK that they've already determined that, for example, that relaxers can give fibroids. Using relaxers on a regular basis can actually help you develop fibroids. So there's a lot of toxins in our system is what I'm trying to say. But to get back to where I was going with this is that you can have a procedure for you to be so nonsensical and so illogical to think that the difference between waiting 2 weeks after you've had one procedure versus if you have a more serious, more invasive procedure, you have to wait 8 weeks before you can have SEX. That would make a difference in your life. There's something very wrong with you that someone, a woman, would put SEX above their health, their entire health for the rest of their life, above a few weeks of SEX. That's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard in my life.
Yeah, no, definitely. I felt like she was a making a very bad choice with regarding about her. But she does it anyway. We're still waiting by Sheree, aren't we?
Hmm. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, we're still waiting on that. Exactly right.
she's the
Yeah, that
queen of making bad decisions, actually.
she does not. She does not make good decisions. So you can take her at that point. What were you gonna say? So we move on to Sonia. Sonia is really having some issues with her family, her extended family, sisters, mother, brother-in-law who works for her. What do you think is going on? Do you think that she's gonna have to let them all go? What do you think is going to happen? And they all live in the house with her.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't understand why her sister was upset. The fact that Ross decided that it was time for Sonia and him and and their child to live alone. I understood the reason why she was living with, why her parents lived with her because she was an athlete and she needed help as a mother. That
Okay.
part,
Yes. With a
that
child.
part I agree with. But the fact that with her sister and her sister's husband living with them as well, and also both of her brother-in-law and her sister work for her, I thought that was a very bad decision, especially making the brother-in-law her PA because that means that they live in under the same roof, and you want to have that comfortability of working somewhere, and you want to come at home and talk to your wife or husband and complain about your work. And it seems like the brother-in-law is doing that to his talking to his wife about his issues, but it's
Right.
very close to home, the issues he's talking about.
Yeah. Like my thing is though too, like I'm wondering, so what is this person, the like for example, the brother-in-law, we'll start with him. What is his certification? What is his educational level? What is his training to go find work elsewhere in Atlanta or Atlanta? the outskirts of Atlanta or wherever they happen to live nearby. Like, you are being paid to work for this woman. Why are you belly aching about it? Because everybody's basically eating off of her piece of the pie, don't you think?
Exactly, and that's when she came on the show, that was one of their success as a family. She said, "Why should I pay somebody else when I can hire my brother-in-law, when I can hire my sister?"
Hmm.
And that is the reason why they always lived next door to each other, and
Mm.
that was their thing. But the brother-in-law was surviving before her. Do you know what I mean? So
Oh, he was. Okay.
yeah,
Okay. But was he surviving here stateside, or was he down in Jamaica, over in
I, I
Jamaica?
I believe he was in the state as well when they
Oh,
came on
okay.
our show. Yeah.
Okay.
So I think what she should really do is, like, I don't understand why the sisters upset about her and Ross deciding to move away from each other and live in their own space. I think that's a great idea. I think
Right.
maybe she's upset because the bills are not going to be paid and now they have to start paying their own bills. Maybe that's why the sisters upset.
Well, yeah, yeah, because I mean, let's just say this: even if he was surviving before without her hiring him, I bet you he's surviving a lot more well, better paid now that he works for her. Because I believe that if she's willing to have them live with her, she's also willing to pay them a decent, working living wage or above living wage, like probably more than anybody else would pay him for the same skill sets. Especially when you're bringing bad attitude to the picture, because what I don't like is that they all seem to be bringing some negative energy, like, well, I don't need to do this for you because you're my family member. But at the same time, a job is a job and work is work. You have to do what you're supposed to do for that job, or else go find another job, is all I can say. Go find yourself a better job.
Exactly. But and also, I think surely they were aware that they were never going to live together forever. Now it's time for her and her husband to have their own private space.
Yeah. Oh, wait a minute. Listen, our and this is our 18 member and my moderator extraordinaire. If you haven't met her already, Miss Iffy, this is Monique King, and Monique is saying in her chat to us that the brother-in-law was in the NFL with Ross. Okay, well, so then he has money. Why doesn't he go out and buy a nice home for his wife? Or while he was in the NFL, why didn't he buy a nice home? Why doesn't he take his wife and his children and boogie on down the street?
That is really surprising that he was in the NFL because they all
Hmm.
eat off her plate. So
I don't
he's
know. But
definitely
but I guess what I was gonna say, now you tell me, like, I don't know, like, what it's like there in the UK, or the your ethnic group or whatever. But in certain ethnic groups and certain cultures, it's the norm for, like, I think part of in Jamaican culture, what I'm hearing from people, and this is hearsay, so I don't know, guys, correct me down in the comments, or if you're watching on the replay, please, 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 if you're Jamaican, put it in the comments. I'm not saying I'm Jamaican, because I'm not. I was born in America and I'm an American. But I understand that, like, in Jamaican culture, it's the norm for families, multi generations, especially if one person is super successful. It's the norm that the family comes and lives with that person in their big house or their mansion, and that is the norm. So I find that that's true in many cultures around the world. It's just that in American society, we typically don't, it's just not a thing where you just really let all of your family come live with you. That's just typically not a thing. It does happen, but it's not typical. It's considered atypical.
yeah.
Yeah.
In my culture, we you live with the in-laws, so it's very
Okay.
normal. Yeah. So
So would that be when you say in-law, so would that be on the
the mother,
husband side, on the
so
woman's side?
the men's side,
The men's side. So on the husband side.
the
Okay.
husband, yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yeah. So you intend to live with his mum because we're very
Oh,
family oriented.
okay.
So we kind of believe in the what is it, the gates to heaven is your parents' feet, your mum specifically. So that's
Oh, okay.
why we intend to go. Yeah, if you can't have cannot afford your own, or if your parents need caring, you intend
Hmm.
to move in to his house and
Oh,
and live
okay.
with him and his mother.
Okay, so then in this case, then it would have been her husband. Well, okay, or they
Yeah,
would, let's say they would have brought her husband's family, which brings me to another point. So the people living in her home all seem to be on her side of the family. I wonder, is there any, if her husband and her have to discuss whether if his parents need help, would they also bring his mom and dad to live with her? That's very interesting. That's very
yeah.
interesting.
I reckon because they're very family oriented. I reckon he would do anything for his parents if his parents are still alive. I reckon
Yes, yes, yes,
he
of
would.
course, right.
I reckon
Okay.
I reckon they would properly live, but I think they live with her parents because he has he has a good relationship, and
Oh,
her parents were also her managers when she was an athlete. So
yes, that's a good point. That is a good
yeah,
point. And they probably still look over things for her now. But she's done very well for herself because we find out that, she's also a commentator for sports and things like that. So she's really eked out a very great career for herself that's ongoing, so that even if she's not active still running, she still has all these streams of income coming in. So that's very important. I want to ask one last thing before we move on. What do you think about the sibling? What do you think about her sister and brother-in-law being there? Are they also in the home too?
yes, yes, they all live together.
Right. So what do you think about those siblings that should siblings that are able-bodied be able to come and live, also in
No,
the domicile with a with a husband? Because I think that sometimes these things could lead to issues. So you got two beautiful young ladies, and let's say her sister wasn't married, didn't have a husband, and she's flouncing around with the little lingerie on or the little short shorts. I got a problem with that. I don't want no other woman up in my house with my man. I don't.
I'll
Mm-mm.
I'll be honest here. I don't think she would live with her if she was not married.
Okay, good point,
No,
good point.
she would. I think obviously as a single woman, you wouldn't be wanted to live with your parents
Mm-mm.
as well as your brother-in-law.
Right, right, right. I don't want you coming to stay with me. It's just too many opportunities for things to go wrong there.
Exactly.
The way my mind works is so sad. But and then to wrap things up, we're gonna just kind of scoot along. So the ladies go to a nightclub. It's supposed to be a big deal party, but turns out that it is not as hot and lit as they thought it was going to be. And so then they end up on the rooftop, where they're told by management that they want the production company to leave because they're causing some issues with the crowd. What did you think about that?
Oh, listen, I love my girl Kenya, but Kenya just does budget every year.
That's what Marlo says. Don't you be on Marlo's team. Don't you be on Marlo's team with this. But it's
Ken,
true, huh? The truth hurts.
no, no, no. Honestly, I was laughing because I was like, "Oh, this is just typical." She's no, I mean, she's very wise, finance wise. If the production are not going to pay for it, she's not going to invest. She's not going to become
Right,
one of these fools who wants to live this lavish life that
right,
she
right,
doesn't have
right.
it.
They're gonna make sure that whatever she wants, like Marlo said, I think some things that she paid for chef in the previous situation when she took the girls on a trip, she paid for this 24-hour chef and the concierge, and those are things that apparently came out of her own personal money, and that's what basically they're telling Kenya. And but to move things along to the last scene, which I found really interesting and kind of alarming and sad all at the same time, what we have been saying about Marlo. So the girls come to Kenya's room to see if maybe she snuck off, and it seems like it's kind of late at night, like it's after midnight, and they're knocking on her door. And then Marlo says, "Well, that's okay. I'll kick the door." And I'm like, Marlo, aren't you the one with the felony on your record? Like that you're trying to have expunged and removed. Do you realize that's destruction and damage of property that does not belong to you in this hotel? Did you think that maybe she might have her daughter in there? And so anyway, Marlo proceeds to kick the door and make this loud noise. And of course, Kenya comes to the door and says, "What are you doing, you effing psycho, you?" And she, she's like, "My daughter's in here. You're gonna scare her." What did you think about that? That was just so crazy.
You know, I the whole episode, Marlon has been going on about how she doesn't, the mistakes she made 20 years ago, etc. She's not the person she is right now, but her actions is showing exactly she's exactly that same person. Why on earth would you go into somebody who said, I'm going to go to sleep early, into their room and knock it like that, and still be proud
Mm,
of your actions as well?
right, right. Yes. Good
So no,
point.
she was very, very. I found her, to be honest with you, bad behavior. The more she talks about her felony record, the more she's giving me why she has that felony record.
Right, right, right. It's sad. It's sad because you've got this problem. You've got this problem because you created this problem because you come across as someone that's very angry and has unresolved mental issues and emotional issues. And unfortunately, Marlo, we can't just go around as adults. We can't just go around kicking doors in, scaring people because we're trying to check to see where they are. Like, I don't know what you really want with Kenya at midnight, midnight plus. Maybe there's a good adult toy that someone could recommend for you, perhaps, that might give you the release that you so greatly seem to require, because it's not there. It's not there at somebody's door, kicking somebody's door. And I hate to say this, but kicking on somebody's door at a late hour could actually backfire and get you hurt. It could really get you hurt.
Exactly, but also she didn't even think about the thought of actually Kenya might be sleeping, her child might be there. Another
Yeah.
thing I've noticed is that even though Kenya has a nanny, she
Hmm.
likes to release her nanny, so she loves spending time with her daughter. So
Yeah,
that's
she
why
does.
that's why she leaves these events early and etc. And if it doesn't suit her the timing, she's
Hmm.
excused it because she wants to spend that quality time. And imagine the thought of somebody knocking your door while your child is sleeping.
Right. I mean, but
Yeah,
so violently, they're actually not even knocking, they're kicking. You're kicking
exactly.
your leg is one of the most powerful appendages in your body. It's stronger than your arm. Your leg is.
What I was going to ask you, so what was
Mhm.
the thought of her wanting GUN license?
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. We let Okay, so yeah, the
That is
GUN guys, the GUN, because of oversight by YouTube and their artificial intelligence. They do not like certain words in your video, right? You get flagged, you get less views and all this kind of thing, and you get sometimes demonetized. Um, I thought that I didn't have a problem with her having one or applying for the license, of course, because unfortunately or fortunately here in the states, that's a thing, is that one of our rights is the right to bear arms. Unfortunately, though, if you're a convicted felon in some states, you do not no longer have that right until you get that expunged or removed. So but it's been 20 years. But the problem with, like I said, for Marlo is that although the particular incident that got her the felony was 20 years ago, here she is today, still showing signs that she's. And then even last week's episode with Drew, when she was overbearing with her and cursing her and all in her face and looking like physically she might have been about to physically harm her or slap her or hit her, she's showing that she has a serious lack of self-control. So in that case, I say you don't need the right to bear arms.
no, I agree with you. I honestly thought the way this episode was, I don't think she's emotionally stable enough to have that
Yes.
license for me.
Yes, that's what that's I agree with you. I 100% agree with you. And we shall continue to follow this and find out if Marlo throughout this season 15, if maybe perhaps therapy for her helps her to right size her emotional and mental thought pattern, and that she becomes a more productive person and more stabilized. We'll continue to follow this for you guys, and we'll be back here again the same time next week. And we're going to shimmy and shake on out of here. So let's say goodbye.
Bye, everybody.
Bye now.